You know that I'm changing, know that I'm changing. No more ways, no more ways. New doors are open. I'm no longer broken. Strategy's high, I'm living my life. Oh yeah. I paid my tithe, I paid my tithe. New blessings on my life. New blessings on my life. Oh yeah.
It's the way you keep blessing me. All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me.
Check my bank account, all my bills paid. Doors keep opening, miracles raining all on me. I'm still alive, food on my table. God is good, you know He's able.
It's the way you keep blessing me.
It's the way.
All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me. It's the way you keep blessing me.
It's the way you keep.
All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me.
Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. Improve me now herewith, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open to you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing.
I know I've been changed. Things ain't the same since you came my way, yeah. You showed me something different. You showed me something new. You came and turned me around. I was lost, now I am found. Blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Windows of heaven, keep pouring out blessings. I don't know how would you do it. My head keeps spinning when you do it. I can't find a reason, but you showing on this season. Yep, it's the way though. It's the way you do, yeah. It's the way though. You keep blessing me. It's the way you do. It's the way though. Yeah, it's the way though. You keep blessing me.
It's the way you keep blessing me.
It's the way you keep blessing me.
All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me. It's the way you keep blessing me. All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me.
What's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to the Author's Alley. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty, and welcome, man. You guys could be anywhere else, but you guys are right here rocking out with us, and we most definitely appreciate that. Man, the song, the video that you guys just saw and you just heard, the name of the song is "It's the Way" by my sister Mookstar Dash, featuring Mr. Kevin Stewart. Man, she's a wonderful artist, an up and coming artist, man. Go check her out on her YouTube channel, man. She's got some great content out there for you guys, some great music out there for you guys. So make sure you check it out. That song right now is available on all digital platforms. So go check it out right now. Before we get started, man, first, I got a great guest in the show for you tonight. But before we get started right now, guys, throw a couple of announcements out here right now. So first and foremost, man, please continue to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We also have a YouTube channel at Trailblazers with a Z Radio. Go check out our channel, man. Check out a couple of videos, and if you like the content and if it resonates with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and then turn on bell notifications so you'll be notified when we come on, and so you guys can see great content that we're putting out for you. Also, make sure you guys follow us on wherever you get your audio streaming content from, whether that be Amazon Music, Amazon Audio, whether that be Spotify, whether that be Apple Podcasts, whether that be Google Podcasts, or whether that be any other audio streaming platform. Check us out on all audio streaming on those audio streaming platforms. And most definitely, if you guys want to check us out even in more in depth and see what we do and who we are, we follow our website www.trailblazersradio.net. That website will give you a lot of information of who we are, what we do, and give you a rundown of the host and who they are and what they and who we represented and everything of that nature. You also may be able to see some past shows on that website too, and it's a really informative website. So check us out, man. Last but most certainly not least, I want to thank all our listeners and our viewers. Excuse me. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing the things that we do by giving you guys great content and bringing you guys great guests and talking about some great subjects and stuff like that. So thank you. So I want to thank our listeners and our viewers. You guys make up who we are. And most definitely want to give a big shout out to God, because without him, none of this is possible. So most definitely want to give a shout out to the Most High God, because none of this would not be possible. So with me talking all that, to me, saying all that. Hi, Miss Day. How are you? Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for tuning in to us. So with all that being said, and with all that being put out there, let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and bring up our guest of the evening. So first of all, this young lady doesn't need an introduction, but I'm most definitely going to give her one. I met this young lady on the Book Slam on Clubhouse. And that Book Slam is a place where authors and writers can read part of their work, read a work in progress, or read something that they currently have published. Hosted by a gentleman by the name of Indy Brennan. As a late Miss Melody Johnson's been hosting it, but it's a great place for an author or a writer to put out to really just talk about their work, but also give folks a reading of their work, and then you get live and honest feedback about their work, about the work that you put, about the work that you wrote about. And this is where I met her, met Miss Cole, met our guest. And every time she's read something, or every time I've read something, the feedback from her has always been positive and always been wonderful. And anything that she's read that I've got a chance to offer feedback on, it's always been a positive thing, put me positive and things of that nature. But not only are we connected via the Book Slam on Clubhouse, we're also connected via an anthology that was recently released not too long ago by visionary Sandra Rumph-Jackson, which is called Raising Children Is Not Easy, But It's Worth It. And she just as well as myself are contributing writers to this anthology. So we're going to talk a little bit about that anthology, but we're also going to talk about other works that she has going on, as well as her writing journey and other things of that nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, what you guys give a warm Office Alley welcome to my guest of the evening, Miss Carolyn Coleman. Hey, Miss Coleman, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank God it's Friday, right?
Yeah, it's been a long week.
Very, very long week, and I'm still trying to decompress from all of that. So, and I'm looking forward to this weekend, but then I'm also looking forward to having a day off on the 4th. But we'll see. I'm just looking forward to this weekend to be able to kind of decompress and be able to kind of spend, chill out spend time with family, and also my fiance and things of that nature. So I'm ready. I'm ready for this weekend, man.
Sounds good.
So let's hop right into this thing, man. I mean, you're a contributing author on a book that we both have contributed to, but you're also an author. You're also an author separate from that. So when did your writing journey begin?
I want to think in 2018. I think it was around 2018. One of my coworkers came in and she said, "I'm now a published author." And I'm like, "Hey, high five. I like that." I congratulated her. And I was like, that's something I've always wanted to do, but I've just never found the time. And she was like, "Oh, Miss Carolyn, right, Miss Carolyn, right. Just go ahead and do it." And so I was like, "Okay, Cassie, we'll see how that goes." Well, I didn't put pen to paper at that point in time, and I did ask her how she had gotten started, and she really is an excellent writer. She really is, but she's busy. So
Right.
she's done several books, but she's really busy. And because I invited her to a couple of platforms, like you mentioned in Book Slam. And she said, I'm just so busy. Because she's raising children, and her husband are really busy with their growing family. We all know how that can be. And
Exactly.
I've always wanted to write. When I was a teenager, we used to share books, me and some of the girls in the community. And it's just funny how they approach me. One of them in particular, do you read? I'm like, do I read? What do you mean? I mean, I'm on honor roll. Yeah, I can read. And so she was like, no, do you read in your spare time? I'm like, yeah, from time to time, because I'll pick up a magazine, I'll do something. And so she gave me a couple of books. And I'm like, so I read them and I was impressed with them. I enjoyed them. And in the back of my mind as a teenager, I'm like, I can do this, but life gets in the way. You have to really live, focus on some things, and you grow into other things.
Right.
So I ran for office. I want to think it was 18, and for a local office. And to de stress, I decided to start writing. That was after my conversation with Cassie. Um, and I just started writing. I just put pen to paper, and that was a healthy way to de stress. And let's also mention I ran a clean campaign. Uh, let's put that out there. Let's put it all the way out there. That's probably why I needed to de stress. But and it just was, I don't know how it really got started. Just ideas started flowing, pen to paper, and I was like, okay, all right, and I felt better. It was very cathartic for me. It did help me to relax, um, as opposed to doing other things. And you just have to stay focused, because when you're trying to do something and you are truly in the public eye, you hear a lot, you see a lot, but so you just really have to put your blinders on and just stay focused and do what you have to do, because all that other nonsense is really to take you off your game. And that was never something on my bucket list, was to run for a political office. But I was obedient to the voice of the Lord, and I was trying to get out of it. And I was like, I don't do that. That's not for me. So I was really trying to talk myself out of it. And then I kept saying, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And then I started calling family members, and they were like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I call my best friend. Yeah, you'd be good. I'm like, is anybody thinking? Is anybody thinking other than me? So I heeded the call, waited on my mom, I waited on her. And then another relative called, and he was so excited. Mom was like, yeah, you'd be good. And I'm like, for real? Y'all really think that? So I ran, and I ran twice, and lost both times. No problem. You go for what you know. You ran a good race. You did what you had to do. And I was like, okay, Lord, now I was obedient. What's up?
Right.
What's up? And so he said, I have something bigger for you. I have something bigger and different for you. I still
What
didn't have a clue as to
what
what
office
that
did you run
was.
for?
It was city council position. It was city council position, a district seat. So,
You lost both times. Now you're like,
oh yeah. Well, the first time I started about 8 weeks out. Second
right.
time I started a year out, because that's how much time I had. But some people were so impressed with what I did and how I was doing some things. But I had a couple of cousins that absolutely love politics, and they would give me pointers, informations, guide, and even when people in various who are right here among me would give me ideas, I would still take them to them and bounce things off because I didn't want to do anything wrong. And one of my cousins gave me a very good advice. Well, they both gave very good advice. Don't misunderstand me. I love them like brothers. And it was like if you ever get the feeling that something's not right, don't do it. And I was like, oh, you don't have to worry. No, but I do appreciate you putting that out there. He said, because it can be a different world. It can be a very different world. And I'll put it like this. It is what you make it. It is what you
It
make
is.
it. And people start calling you up and people that you don't know, and you be like, where's all this coming from? So I was getting some traction from people, and I'm like, but where did the votes go? Where did the votes go? But it's okay. And it was someone told me, well, I didn't know that was you. Okay. Especially the second time. I'm like, picture everywhere, name everywhere. Who did you think that was? Who did you think that was? And so I said, please move on. Please move on. Tell me anything, but do not tell me that. And so I laughed. She didn't, but it's
Lord have
okay.
mercy.
She wasn't the first one, but people are funny,
That
and they
that's
are who they
wild
are.
though.
Huh?
That's wild though.
Oh,
That's
it's very
wild
wild.
though.
Hmm.
The well, I didn't know that was you. So
Well,
you
who
can't
did you think
distinguish
that
this
was?
face from everybody else, huh?
Yeah, yeah, You've been knowing me for a very long time, and now all of a sudden you didn't know me, nor did you know my name, baby. And they said, "Bye, Felicia." I didn't. I just said, "I said, go on, please move forward, please
Move
move
up,
forward."
move around, move around.
Yeah, but please don't stay in my in my visual field. Please don't do that.
Man, God,
Because as the children say, don't play in my face.
exactly.
Don't play in my face. So
God,
but it was eye-opening. It was a learning experience. um it's not for the faint of heart, that is for sure. But everything can be a learning experience. It's how you accept it, is how you receive it, win or lose. It is something. Once you start something, you want to finish it.
oh
Well,
yeah.
that's the way I look at it. Um, and I have people who walk up to me now, I started to do this and I started to run, but I decided to go ahead and get out. And I said, I understand. I said, if you weren't really sold into what you were going to do, it's best not to, because it's a lot of work, but I appreciate the tenacity of the politicians who take it from start to finish and who accomplish their goals. And that was one of the posts that I put out. I congratulate all winners. And that's just sincerity. I congratulate all the winners. And for us who lost, as long as you ran a good race, you ran a decent race, I congratulate you as well, because this is not easy. It's not easy. So imagine being on a national or state level,
Wow.
just how much more ground you have to cover. So it gives you a different perspective, because anyone can sit around and say what needs to be done, if this is what they need to do, and you can criticize anyone. But until you have put your foot in the race or sat in that seat, you don't know. We looking on the outside. We're on the outside looking in.
Oh
So
yeah.
we really don't know. Sure, you can look at someone doing a job and say, "Oh, I can do that." Well, you really don't know what every aspect of that job entails. I'm talking about being a CEO or being a physician. It takes a lot of preparation. You just don't get on a seat and twirl around. People expect results. People expect results, and because you have to answer to you have people that you have to answer to. You have to show it. You have to demonstrate your productivity. You have to demonstrate your good work. It has to be seen and not just heard. And I think a lot of people sometimes don't take And I'm not talking about politicians. Please, please, let's take that off the table. Just business, they don't take it serious. You have to put in the work. Yes, you can become a manager, but are you an effective leader?
Ooh,
There is a difference. There is a difference.
that's a good question. You
Hmm.
you're a good, but you're a manager, but are you an effective leader?
Yeah,
And
and the best way to lead is to get out front. You don't lead from behind.
oh,
You
no,
don't
not at
lead from
all. Nope. And if you scared, I think if you're scared of leadership, then you're probably, because a lot of people say, well, if you're scared to be a leader, you're scared to succeed. Well, some people ain't built for that. Some people
behind. No,
ain't built to be leaders.
they're
Some
not.
people,
Some
some
people
people
just
are
want.
just built to be the people that do behind the scenes. That's what they're good at. That's what they excel at.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And you can put a person in a role.
Everybody ain't fit to do that.
No, they're not. They're not built for it. They're not ready for it. There are some things you just really, really have to grow into. And if it's really something that you really like, you know, if it's something you enjoy, it doesn't seem like work. But just to have the title and to sit in a seat and people calling you, by name, oh, Mr. Mrs. Coleman. Oh yes, you're the don't you're not gonna swell my head. I know what's behind the door. I know what's behind door number 1, 2, and 3. And that's because you have been out here for a minute. And people, the same people that will push you up will be the same people that will pull you down.
Ain't that the truth?
And
Golly.
that's just on an average level. That's just folks for you.
Yeah. And it don't matter what level you on. There's
Yes,
always gonna be somebody there. Like, let me pull him or her down just to see how they gonna respond.
sure. And you have to be able to take um, criticism. You have, be it constructive or non-constructive. You'd be surprised at who can bring you some really good information. And some people who are always bringing you some things. And I've just noticed this over my years of service, my years of being a nurse. Just be careful of that person that's always bringing you something because they're going to eventually want something in return.
They gonna want some reciprocal.
I mean, it.
Want some reciprocal.
Oh yeah, they gonna want you to sow something into them some type of way. They're not pushing you up because they really thoroughly appreciate you. It's going to turn out to be, what can you do for me? And that's just real. That's just
When
real.
did people when did people stop truly supporting each other? That's the question. That's the weirdest thing. When did people stop truly supporting each other?
I want to know that myself. And I sometimes I do. Honestly, I think about that. And some of my friends and I, we talk about it. And I'm like, when did we get to this level? When did we get to this level? You can't really depend on people for that support. Is it you? Is it them? Is it the circumstances? Just really, what is it about? And sometimes you just have to set boundaries on people. Um, Everybody does not want you to succeed. Um, that's it. Come. Everybody's just not in your corner. Some people are going to always cheer you on, and that's wonderful. And there's always going to be someone who's not going to do. They're not going to cheer you on. They might cheer you while you're looking, but behind the scenes, they're doing something totally different.
Look, yeah, I think Mr. Whitley said, to answer our question, he said a long time ago, in my opinion, and
I,
I'm
I'm
very
inclined to believe with him. I'm,
I'm apt to agree with him because
yeah, I agree with him as well.
because all of us, I think when people stop supporting each other, with everything under the sun became competition.
Yeah, and what makes it a competition though? I mean, what made it a competition? There's enough for all of us.
Yep.
Absolutely enough for all of us.
I just want to see that. I just want to see it at the table. I don't want. I don't want. I don't want to be the head of the table. I just want to see it at the table.
I know. I ran into this physician, and he never answered a question. I think he was more educational, and he never answered a question when the students asked him. And so one of my friends said, "Oh, I'm gonna stick a pin in him because I'm not believing anything he said." And I said, well, "What did he say?" Because I'm listening and I hadn't heard. Then I saw him. I called one of my cousins, and he was like, "Yeah, I met him. I'm trying to see how he got in the door, let alone a seat at the table." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I thought it was just me, because some people have that gift of gab where they can enter into various venues and do various things. I'm not saying he was not intelligent. I think he was to be able to do all that he did, but you just have to question. If you can't ever answer a question straight, give an answer to someone, and then he'll say the answer is within you, and I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? This student had a really good question about a patient, and the answer is within you. You should have
Wow.
just answered the question because we're talking about people's lives.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm like, I'm one of the people like, look, I don't look. I just want if I can get into the room, I'm good.
I'm with you.
I just want to
Absolutely.
get in the room. I don't want to necessarily. I don't want to sit at the table per se. But as long as I'm within earshot of listening to folks at the table, I'm good.
Yeah, I agree. Surround yourself. Surround yourself.
Yeah, I like how you put. I like the way that how your political, your former political aspirations have kind of shaped you into kind of the type of person that you are. You know, as far as like an individual, but you also said yeah, you're a nurse by trade, right?
Oh yeah, by profession, I truly am. I have been doing this for over 30 years, and I'm in my chosen profession. I know I'm in mine. I don't have one doubt about it. I enjoy what I do. Um, I enjoy it. So you have to love what you do, no
Okay.
matter what it is. I ran into some physicians who did not enjoy what they did, and it showed. But it's okay. It's okay.
See, when you don't like what you do, everything else that surrounds that or that orbits that suffers.
I agree. I agree.
I
Um,
can't I can't see myself not doing something that I detest or despise because then I'm like or just do it just for the sake of doing it.
I agree. I mean, I agree. And some mornings when he came in, someone said, "Oh, here he comes," and I was like, "Oh, dull and duller," because he was always, you never know. You just never know what bag he was gonna come out of, and you're like, as one day I told him, "I'm just seeing you." Now, meaning I did not ride to work with you. And if you really didn't want to be here, why'd you come? He said, because I need the money to take care of my farm. Because he was a farmer. I was like,
Jesus.
and then go ahead now, so we all have a goal. I said, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. And he
Eh,
knew that. He knew that it on any given day, let's say you guys were out and you met at a restaurant, he would be a totally different person. He could schmooze, have a very great conversation, had a his demeanor was more relaxed. He was more relaxed, and to the point where you kind of felt, you know, are you trapped in what you're doing? Are you trapped in in that? I mean, you have made strides that some people would love to have. You have a position that a lot of people, everybody can't make it through med school. Everybody can't, and
nope.
you did. And he told me why he went. And it was an honorable reason. Honestly, it was. Um, but it was not his love. It was not his love.
See, when you don't do what you love, you don't love what you do. Yeah, suffrage.
Hmm.
Suff- I put it like this. The way I look at things, I could never not see myself being in front of a microphone or being in front of a camera. I could
Okay.
never ever not see myself doing that because it's something
Hmm.
I've been doing for the better part of almost 7.5 years now.
Okay.
And it's like, but I know while I've been in front of this microphone and while I've been in front of this camera, I've had to pivot
Oh,
and
absolutely.
change how I approach things and it really just change how I've had to present myself and present the content and present the things that I talk about. You know, can you, as far as that in your writing, can you, is there any like pivot point for you to where you had to change how you wrote about a subject or how you maybe approached a subject?
Well, I started out writing fiction, and I just love the characters that I created. And I just really got into that, and it was just comical and relaxing to me. Um, Rom-coms, basically what I call them. My title
Romance comedy.
character,
Ooh.
my title character is Gentry. Okay, and the things that Gentry goes through as a female, as a woman, as a girlfriend, as a child because she has parents, but still trying to navigate adulthood,
Ooh.
as a young woman, and heartbreak that comes along with that. So I wrote Happiness, Hurt, and Healing, which is the first. And then I came back with the second one, the re-entry of Gentry, and everybody was like, "Oh, you left us hanging." I said, "Well, I didn't know if Gentry would make another entrance. I did not know. I wanted to see what you, the readers, wanted." And people were very kind. They were very kind, and they were like, "I like her. I like the character. I like how you pulled it together. I like what you do because we've all had that heartbreak where we just kind of have to heal
Right.
and get through life and get back on our feet." And one of the things in the story, what Gentry had to give advice to someone who had gone through heartbreak, and she was what she said was, "I promise you, it will get better." And she was like, "Do you promise?" I said, "I promise it'll get better." I said, "Because what God told me was, you don't go through just for yourself. You go through so you can help others." And we know that is true. Okay. I mean, it doesn't feel good at the beginning. It does not. I'm not going to sit here and act like you should not be hurt and you need to push through it. No, you need to work through your grief. It's still a grief. It's still the grief process. And you need to work through your grief, work on yourself. Why don't you travel? Why don't you go back to school? I thought you wanted to be this, that. No, oh, I do. I said, well, now you have that time. You're no longer married. Apparently, the divorce it was not a good divorce. I mean, some are, some aren't. And she was just, "I just don't know if I can trust anyone." I said, that time will come. That time will come. Just don't push it. And so Gentry, not only she can be a leader. She can be a leader. And the challenge with going from fiction to nonfiction, you're talking about yourself. And when you're doing nonfiction, you kind of have to remove some layers and dig real deep
Ooh,
into some
yeah.
situations that you not necessarily that you have forgotten, but you haven't had to visit in a while. And in order to give the true analysis of the story, you've got to revisit those places. And the first anthology was The Breaking Point. And when life requires a shift. You have to break free or you break down, but you still have to pivot to either get yourself together, raise your children, get out of a bad relationship. Because when you do the anthologies, you can only speak on your chapter.
Right.
But I will give you this tidbit from one of the interviews before we were interviewed, before the book came to pass. So I think that will be saved. And this young lady said it was dark. I was in the corner and I heard the click of the gun. And I went, whoa. So sometimes we think we go through some things, somebody else is going through a little bit more.
Yeah. And that, I think
So,
people,
um,
wow.
so to tell your story about yourself can be it's cleansing. It's cleansing. It gives you strength, but you have to revisit and kind of undress and lay yourself bare to be able to tell that story.
Oh yes, for sure. What attracted you to Miss Sandra's anthology? What was the main attraction to this anthology?
The title, Raising Children. Just the title, and just the title itself. Um, because someone asked me on an interview, "Do you have children?" I went, I don't think you should write in this book if you don't have
Don't
kids.
got
The,
kids.
the title says raising children, and they don't have to be your natural children. They don't have to be biologically connected to you, but you raising children. They can be foster kids because some people are great foster parents. They can be
Right.
some nieces and nephews. They can be some bonus kids from a second relationship. But I, I just said, if someone's writing about children and haven't raised any children, are they really writing a chapter in
I
this
mean,
book? 'Cause why would that question have come up?
go on to question your authenticity
Yeah,
there, Chief.
and I want to read that chapter. If you didn't
What
raise any, I want to read your chapter. But just the title said it all to me.
cool. I mean, I think for me the title said a lot too, but the title spoke to me in a different way because I look at because my story speaks on more of a guy raising other children, raising other children, like bonus children in a bad in my last marriage.
Hmm.
But also trying to connect with my own kids. So that was that's always been that had always been my thing at the time, especially with these about the bonus kids were way younger than they are now because they're all grown and they're all flourishing. And
Hmm.
I was like, "Well, what can I tell somebody about raising kids or about how to do stuff like? Let me just write this down and just put it out there, and it worked,
It
and
worked.
it really does. I mean, and I don't think people understand the type of a parent can understand what I'm about to say. They don't say the type of commitment that a parent has to put in for to make sure this child is a functioning and contributing member to society. You're teaching values, you're teaching uh, how to carry themselves as a not only as a young child as a child but also as a young adult.
Hmm.
You're putting this kid on a pathway of how to conduct themselves in the world, but also giving them a way to how to how to successfully insert themselves in the world that's around them. Or if
True.
they don't want to really insert themselves in the world that's around them, to stand out from other people.
Hmm.
The one thing I told you know my bonus kids that why are you guys looking to stand out. There's some circles y'all don't but there's some circles y'all don't belong in,
I agree.
and that's good. It's cool to not want not it's cool to want to be in those circles, but if you get rejected, don't worry about it. Make your
I
own
agree.
circle if you have to.
Yeah. But sometimes it's hard for a child and or a young adult to recognize rejection can be a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Because they just feel as though they need to automatically click or fit in when that is not true. Not even as a mature adult, you're not going to always fit in. And
Mhm.
it is okay to be authentically you. And
Yep.
that's what I tell children and young adults. It's okay to be you. Because if you're always trying to please other people, you'll never please yourself.
Right. I get that. And so without spoiling your story, what is your story in this book? What does it center on?
Basically, children are different. I don't care how many you have. They all they all have their unique personalities.
They do.
Um, and what punishment fits one will not work for the other because of the difference in their personalities. So you have to know your children. You have
Uh,
to know their facial expression, their gestures, what's bothering them, or what they want to talk about, because I've always just encouraged communication, good, bad, or indifferent. And I like to know what they're thinking about, how their day went, how was their outing with their friends, just all of that stuff. I just encourage communication, and I want them to be allowed. I allow them to be open and honest with their verbiage. And
so basically the way I'm looking at it, the way you're saying it is it's not a one size fits all approach.
no, it's not. It's not. And even though, like you mentioned earlier, you're instilling values in them, you want them to be, as one physician, he was tearing his son up. I guess he had given the wife a little trouble before he went to school that day, and she called him. I don't know if she was at the point of choking him or what, but she called, and he said, "My job is to make sure you are a good, solid citizen. I don't even owe you new clothes." So, but we being moms listening to this,
Right.
we kind of bagged up because we were like, he might want to get, that parent gets on a tirade and gets on one kid. Well, we were looking like, well, he might want us next.
Oh man, let me tell you.
And he slammed that phone down. He said, "I don't owe you a car. I don't even owe you a college education." I was like, "You go, boy. You go. You get in there." Because
She said you get it there.
that's what I'm saying to myself. And when he got
Right.
off the phone, he said, "I'll be back in a minute." I guess he had to, walk that anger off, that frustration, because kids can take you there.
Oh
So,
yes, they will.
and I say that to say, children are children, no matter who their parents are, or what
Exact.
title their parents hold, what position their parents hold. And you have to make sure that you are standing flat footed when you raise kids, because it's going to be one,
Ooh.
you want to choke them one minute and then you want to hug them the next, or vice versa, but you have to
Ooh.
let them know who's the parent and who's the child.
She said, let me tell you, I'm gonna repeat what she said. Stand flat footed when you raising your kids. Because if you don't stand flat footed, you will be off balance.
You will be off balance. You will, and they will say and do some things that will, kind of rock you. And you're like, is this somebody I know? Is this somebody I've been raising? Is this someone I've been feeding? Oh well, let me see if I can find my way back
Exactly.
to this individual.
Let me see now. For me now, when I was growing up, I call it a hard reset because my father was good at that. My father and my mother were good at that. Oh, you want to be like that? Oh, let me just give you a hard reset. Like what it did. I didn't me being a kid didn't know what that entailed, but then found out what it entailed and like, okay. I don't think I want to ever get a hard reset ever again in life.
Oh, Okay.
Because for me, I mean, because I, because we're pretty sure we're the same age, or if not, you're very, either you're old, you're probably probably a little bit older than I am. I I grew up in an era of parenting where it was show respect to the parent, show respect to an adult, and if you didn't, you paid for it.
Oh, for real. Yeah.
Like if you don't say yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, or no, ma'am, or no, sir, or if you
Hmm.
didn't understand where your place was as a kid, oh, you paid for it, and they excuse me, when you paid for it, you paid for it.
Oh, you definitely paid. You definitely paid. I remember one day, I'm a young adult, and my girlfriend came to pick me up, and we were going to go partying. It was still daylight, so we had some time to kill.
Right.
And she was just acting out in the car. And I was like, if you don't settle down, I'm putting you out.
Ooh,
And so
ooh,
I and so she said, put me out. So
oh,
I stopped the car. I stopped the car. I stopped the car. I went around to the other side. She locks the door, so I can't put her out. And so I was like, "No, I'm putting you out. You wants to be Billy? You okay? You wants to be Billy Bad? Let's put you out." And we're laughing the entire time. She and I were laughing. Do you know
what?
when I got back home? Someone had called my mom and told her I was in the street cutting up. And I was like, no, it was a joke. It was a joke. So I'm saying that to say you never get old to your parents, okay? So someone had made a phone call, busted me out real good, but they had the wrong information. We were just joking, honestly. We were
Right.
just joking. But I'm just saying somebody had us on, and it wasn't speed dial because I don't think that was a thing. But they still made that phone call to my mom because my mom was as they call them today, a stay-at-home mom. You know, when I was growing up, they were called housewives. My dad was the
Right.
breadwinner, but he told my brother one day, I guess he got a little frisky, and he said, "Your mama runs this house when I'm not here, and you're not to give her a hard time." And that was the end of
Ooh,
it. He didn't stop. He didn't stutter. He was a man of few words, and that was the end of
ooh.
that.
Oh, that's so your dad and my dad are the same type of people.
but he was not the punisher. My mom was the punisher and the disciplinarian. But when he spoke. Okay, he
Right.
called us in one day, and we were like, "Oh Lord, what does he want?" Nobody said it, but you could feel it because you know your brothers and sisters. So we were standing in the living room at attention, and he
Uh,
said, if you all go to jail for anything other than fighting, you will be there. And so I'm like, I'm the only girl. And I went, why fighting? And he said, because that lets me know you were trying to protect yourself. So when we went in the back, into my brother's room, I'm like, oh, it's on now.
oh boy.
It's his own, you know, and they were laughing and high fiving each other. But we wanted to know why. Why did he come in there with that? And my dad is a people person.
Right.
He was a people person. Um, so he was a people person. So people told him a lot. He knew a lot. People told him a lot, and I just to this day I just say someone said something or somebody's child got into some deep trouble and he wanted to cut that off before it got to his house. That's the only thing that
Look,
makes sense to me on that.
looks, you know what? My father's the same way. But him being the person that we lived in an apartment. We lived in an apartment complex, and he was the maintenance man. He was one of the maintenance men there. So his ear was always to the ground on what we were doing. It's like And he told us, so there's nothing you guys don't do that I don't know about. Really? So when we sneak off and go to the mall, we think we get away with sneaking off to the mall. You know about how you know about that? He said, I got eyes everywhere. I'm like,
And literally, he had eyes everywhere.
I'm like,
You know, it's
who is
but
watching me? Who is
but yeah,
watching me?
yeah. And who wants to watch me? Who wants to
Exactly.
watch me? Who wants to keep up with me? You know, but at the same time, like the gentleman said, we lost that a long time ago. We need to get back to some of that.
Yeah,
We
we
need to
do.
get back to some of that
But
because the
there,
children now tell the parents what to do and how they're not going to do it, and the parents cower and walk away. And I'm like, not on my watch. Not
like,
on my
hold on.
watch.
You will you won't be doing that to me, brother. I'm the adult here, sir. We but there's an established hierarchy here.
Yes, it is established, and I don't plan on being dethroned.
Nope, you know, say, I'm the king of this. I'm the king of the castle. If you want to oust me,
Yes.
go for it. But you won't be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
supposed to be a democracy. Nope, sir. This is a dictatorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would do that. We would, we'd be in study something and we were like, there's a dictatorship up in here. And my mom would be like, sure is, and just keep on walking. I mean, it was just like, I'm not giving you the time of day. It's not gonna
No,
happen.
exactly.
There's no
Exactly.
explanation going on here. It's just, hey, no, I'm trying to get rid of that glare.
Like
It's
we
just
ain't
hey, no, and that's the end of it.
exactly like because with my dad and my mom, it was there. It was one word. It was one word sentences. Yes,
Mm,
no, and sometimes maybe, but
sometimes
that was it.
maybe. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Uh, you know what? I used to hate that as a kid. We'll
I did
see,
too.
because that's their nice way of saying no.
That's a nice way of saying no.
Like
Putting you
we'll
on
see. I mean, just
pause.
say no,
Yeah. Putting you on
or I'll
pause.
think about it.
Yeah.
How long you gonna think about it? I mean, tell that. How long you gonna think about it? Is it gonna
It's
take 2 weeks?
fun.
Is it gonna take 2 years? I mean, because I need to know. I need to know this answer like before Friday.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and you're right. I mean, there are some elements of that are missing. That are I won't even say missing. That are defunct because again, we and then and then it goes to like what psychologists and psychiatrists are saying about letting your kid be this. I get all that, but there has to be parameters for that.
I agree.
I don't mind you saying you can say what you want. Cool. Just make sure you say it in a respectful manner.
That's what
I
I was
don't
just
I
getting
don't
ready to say. Yes.
I don't mind you expressing anger about a situation or about something that happened either in school or something that happened in your personal life. I don't mind you saying that. Say what you gotta say, you know, but there has to be some mode, a modicum of respect and something there. I mean, I don't care. You can scream to the top of your lungs about how you feel about something. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I will scream with you.
Absolutely.
I'll scream with you. I'll cry with you. And then after that, let's break this down. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out what went wrong so we can correct it together.
Mm-hmm.
And people always say, well, and I know when I was helping raise my ex-wife's kids, you know, I was more of the cool, calm, and collected one.
Mm-hmm.
I was what they call the listener.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay, tell me what's going on. But every time they tell me about a problem, I would always ask them, What are you prepared to do?
Sure.
What do you got in place? What plan or what plan do you have in place what plan do you got a plan? And if you do have a plan, how you gonna execute it? And if you don't, if plan when you, I would always ask them, what are you prepared to do after? So, and I don't I don't know.
No, I get it. You know, you can't just have these
It would be
pipe
when it comes
dreams.
to parenting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy thing with me when it comes to parenting, but I look at it as, oh, let me help this kid solve this problem so that way they'll be better at it. They'll be better, or they'll feel better
Sure.
about it, or they won't about it. I don't know. I mean,
I get it.
I'm not always looked at as sometimes I'm looked at as the favorite uncle. So it's with my brother's kids because they always want to talk to me. I'm like, and then I always tell them, well, what did your dad? Well, he said this. Well, guess what? If your father tell you jump, you go. You better say how high. And if you don't say how high, well, I can't help you with that. It's because I'm not because I'm not gonna go through a battle of philosophy with my brother
Sure.
or a battle of parenting philosophies with my brother because those are his kids. I'm just an uncle. I'm
Absolutely.
just an uncle.
Yeah. You're basically on the outside looking in.
Yeah. And I like I always tell them, if you get in trouble, I ain't bailing your ass out.
It won't
That's
be
you.
on me.
That's you.
Absolutely.
But Uncle, nope. Ain't no Uncle Fred here. Uncle Fred's in the corner over there, minding his business. Whatever you do, you did. You brought it up on yourself. You got to be accountable for that, sir, ma'am. And it's and the way that's how I look at stuff when it comes to, especially when it comes to other. I mean, nowadays you can't put when you can't touch somebody else's child or you can't discipline somebody else's kid. Why the hell not?
I want to know too, especially if they're in your care. If they're in your care, something has got to be done. But there are some parents and some grandparents, you can just tell from their mannerism, they're hesitant to say anything to those kids. And but my thing is, if you're hesitant to say anything to them, why do you even have them with you? If you can't
Yep.
basically check them, why are they there? Oh, their mama don't want you to say nothing to them. I said, well, she would have to have them. They wouldn't be riding on me. I'm here to tell you that now, and I don't have anything. I don't. I don't have any patience for someone's belligerent children. I just don't, because guess what? I don't have to. I don't have to deal with that.
I don't got it.
I don't have to deal with that. So if you and your children or grandchildren have to fight and squabble, well, my dad always told me, always have your own car. Always have your own. Drive yourself. Drive yourself. So I'm always just about in my car 99.5% of the time on my own time, so I can drive off and leave you guys to whatever you're doing. And that's just
Yep.
it. That is just it. That's just how I roll. That's just how I feel about it. It is what it is. I shouldn't be in the middle of that foolishness. I shouldn't be in the middle of that foolishness. And this foolishness, an adult cannot control. But so if your daughter or your son does not want you disciplining the children, you shouldn't be able to keep the children. You know, you shouldn't, because
See,
what they can keep themselves if they,
if that's the case,
if
right?
they got to run everything, let them keep themselves.
And see, I'm so glad that my granddaughter's mom gave me and my ex-wife, that full reign to be like, oh, if she do something bad, oh, get on her. Okay, say less.
Mhm.
Say less. You do bad, okay, I'm on
And
you.
and the thing about it, you don't have to spank a kid to discipline a kid. So it's not always about raising your fist or raising your hand, but there's boundaries that have to be set. You can't come in my home and stand on my sofa. Uh, I don't do that. I don't do that. And if I ask you to, have a seat, I want you to have a seat. Uh, I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard. And I don't want to take you somewhere else and you do this. So I'm
Exactly.
like, and I know kids, when they get around other kids, they do things. Don't get me
Of
wrong. We
course.
all have, that's just it. That's testing the limits, that's testing the waters. Um, but somebody needs to say, hey, don't do that. I was reading an
Exactly.
article, or a portion of an article earlier. Someone video um, someone putting their hand into the hot springs over in Yellowstone. And when she snatched her hand back, she went, it's really hot. And so I'm like, okay, so the sign wasn't good enough.
So I guess you wanted to just experiment with seeing
She
how
did.
hot it was.
And someone videoed her. Someone she did not know videoed her, and they were saying one of the exploits of being in Yellowstone. This is what you see. It says hot, it's hot spring. You see the steam running off, coming off, and then you want to stick your hand in it. So, and they were like, okay, well, whatever she incurred, she asked for. I didn't see the video. I was just kind of awestruck by the article. And I was like, so hot didn't mean hot to her? Please. What was it supposed to mean? So if
Cold, maybe. Lukewarm.
well, she said, "Oh, it's really hot. I mean, it's hot." So she may have had, she may have a little burn from that. And they were saying other tourists do this from time to time as well. They don't. They read the hot sign. They just don't recognize that it's hot.
So that steam coming off that didn't automatically tell you it was hot.
And said, "Don't." I'm not. We were in at Disney at SeaWorld, and they said, don't put your hands over the plexiglass. Well, it was a grandmother and some parents behind me, and they allowed the children to go closer to the plexiglass to see the whales. And the kids put their hands over the plexiglass. And so the dad was yelling, kids, don't put your hand over the plexiglass. The grandmother said, oh, they ain't bothering nothing. And I just interjected. I didn't even look around. I said, the whale doesn't know if that's fish food or human.
Right.
And so she was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. There's a reason for these don'ts and don't do this and warning signs. There's a reason for them, because one snap of that whale as he's doing that, his jumping act, you going to pull back a nub. You could potentially pull back a nub.
See, people don't understand it. Look here.
Yeah, I mean, it's raising children. And someone said about the book, well, now we have a how-to guide on how to raise children. And I'm like, no, we have more tips. This is still not a how-to guide on how to raise kids. It's tips. I mean, it's like a self-help book. There's always someone out there.
What?
Because guess what? Kids still have different personalities. You kind of have to live with them to know these things. Yeah. So it is. It's not. It's tips.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine a kid coming out the womb with an instruction manual.
Absolutely.
My kids did not.
No, and I have had to tell my nieces and nephews when they're upset with their parents, and some of my friends' children when they're upset with their parent. I said, look, there is no guide to parenting. We're doing the
Nope.
best we can. We're parents. We're not superhuman. We've been children before. We're just trying to keep you guys from bumping into the walls so much. So don't be so hard on your parents. Don't be so hard on them. You know, everybody wants to be around the good time parent. Everybody wants to be around those people. But those people aren't always a safe space for you to be in.
Exactly. For sure.
So I give advice. If they, well, sometimes we talk because we will sit around and chat, and I give dating advice. I give safety and numbers. You know, the group that you went with, it's a group you need to come back with, and make sure they get back in the door that you brought them out of. Safely. Call each other to make sure everybody gets home. Things of that nature. I said those were the rules when I was growing up, and I don't see those rules changing. We still need to connect with one another to make sure
Right.
that everybody's safe. You have to be looking out for your friends when you're out. You need to be looking out for them. So rules like that, and they'll tell me, you know, my parents act like they never did anything. I said, oh, they did something. I can assure you they did something, but that's their story to tell. It's their story to tell.
I
So
do.
we as parents aren't perfect either.
No. Oh no. Not by a long shot.
No.
But what is one message? What message do you think they can pull from that?
Who can pull from that? The parent or the child?
Parents.
I
Yep,
think
parents.
I think
What
I
type of
think
what
our
type of
children
No,
I
go ahead.
think
I'm
our
sorry.
children need to be able to see that we are vulnerable and we are human, we err, and we as parents, when we make a mistake or we misspoke or we misspeak, say, oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. If I had to listen to the entire statement, this is what I really should have said because this is the way it really should have been handled. It's okay to be human. It's okay to not have all the knowledge. It's okay. It's okay. And that you really want, just let them know. I really have your best interest at heart. I really have your best interest at heart. You good, Fred?
Yeah, yeah. Just just a little bit of struggle stream, and I apologize for that.
No,
But
no, we're
I
fine. We're
like
fine.
that, man. I like that. I like what you said because that it has relevance. It has meaning to that. It has meaning. So parents need to understand. Hey, look, these kids don't come with instruction booklets, y'all. So it ain't like there's not a care instruct. There's not a care lady of a bill of lading or care instructions that come with when kids are brought up in this world. So you know what I'm saying. But if you love on them and you care for them and you treat them, as human beings, but you also discipline them and show them how they should be or how they should act, they'll grow up to be productive human beings in this world. They
I
will.
agree. I agree.
They really will. So
And
the
that's
one
what
thing
you
I
want. That is
right,
what we want. That's the goal. Is that not the goal?
it is. That's the overall goal for me. That's the way I looked at it when I was bringing kids in, when I was raising my own kids. But hey,
Sure.
but the one thing I want to ask you, as we get a little closer to concluding this particular interview, man, I always ask this one question, and I always asked it in a way to where the answer is relevant, has meaning for you as the person. Um, we all know that life. We all know that there's life is a marathon, but everybody's running in different stages of that marathon. We could be at the beginning, which is the starter's gun has gone off, and then we're starting our run. We could be in the middle where we're at a great pace and we're just going along, or it could be toward the end to where we know the finish line's there, but we're still running at the same pace we started as. Looking at your life in its totality and everything in between, where do you see yourself in this marathon, in your marathon of life? Are you at the beginning or at the middle or at the end?
I think I'm still on top of the hill. I can see the crest of the hill, because every day is another opportunity for us to do something. Every day, I'm reluctant to say at the end, because we're still viable creatures. We're
Yep.
still some of our children are trying to learn how to adult. This is a new
Lord.
opportunity in adulting, and though that brings different things. I'm usually that positive person, and the first time when my son had to do jury duty, and someone must have told him that, oh, you don't want to do that. I don't know what they said to him, but I looked in his face and I was like, what's up? I got to go jury duty. And I was like, oh, that is such a rewarding experience. And he went, it is. I said, yeah. Well, what do I have to do? I said, take a couple of books. You're going to read all day. They just going to move you from room to room. I said, you're going to see some people that you know. I said, they call a host of people. They let some go. They keep some. I said, you'll probably never see a case. I said, but you get to see how the system operates. You get to
Yep.
see some of the system. You get to meet some of the judges. You get to meet some of the attorneys. And so he was like, how many books can I take? I said, oh, take about two or three, because he liked those mangas. I said, I'll take about two or three. So he
Yeah,
came
you're
home.
gonna be there a while.
Yeah, he came home on lunch. He had a whole new wall. Hey, Mom, what's up? He enjoyed the process. So it's people that give you bad advice. I don't know if it's intentionally or unintentionally, but like I say, we need to take some things as a learning experience. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not saying you need to get a learning experience from a lot of everything, but give people the correct information. Give them the correct information, especially your children. Give them the correct information. Everything is not a pit of doom. Everything is not.
Exactly.
It's a new experience. Make it as appealing as it can be. Now, some people hate jury duty.
Right.
They hate the waste of time, but I found it to be rewarding. I gained some new knowledge from it, and he did as well. He did as well. And he was like, how do they pick you? I said, they say this is what they tell you. I said, but they'll explain it to you when you get there. And he did run
Exactly.
into a classmate of his. And he said he acted like he was just real scared. He gave me these one word answers. I said, oh, he was scared. It wasn't that he was acting like he was scared. He was afraid. And he said, and so we laughed about that. I said, all he had to do
Right.
was saying, I'm just a little nervous about this. But he didn't want you to see him being vulnerable and being nervous. Everybody
Right.
wants to macho and man up. He's in a new environment himself. It's a new
Exactly.
environment.
Of course it is. And I think the biggest thing that works to our advantage as human beings is that we're able to adapt to those environments and able to move.
Absolutely.
And so that way, the minute we adapt to it, we can move forward and okay, it's not so bad. This is not so bad as
True.
I initially perceived it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's the one thing I like about us and like about us as human beings, that we're adaptable creatures, and we can adapt to the environment that we're in, and we're able to move forward and be like, well, dang, I thought this was going to be horrible. It's not horrible as I
Sure.
first perceived it to be. So yeah, I like that. So I'm gonna give you this time right now. I'm gonna give you this time to give yourself a shameless plug. Let everybody know who you are, where they can find you on social media, and also any books that you have out, any books you have out that's published, let us know where you can find those at. And then, also let them know that you can find, also let them know about, how especially authors that are writers that are looking to have their works heard, how they can participate in the book slam. So I'm gonna give you the floor. You got it.
Okay. Okay. Again, I'm Carolyn Coleman. Real simple. That's how you can find me on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Carolyn_author. Okay. Not trying to make this complicated. On LinkedIn, I'm Carolyn Coleman. And my website is cpwbookshelf.com. And that is where you can. I haven't updated it with this brand new book that we've been talking about, but it will be there soon. Okay. Been a little busy with work trying to get some things together. And
Right.
you will see the Gentry series on there, and you'll see the #1 bestseller, The Breaking Point. Which I think we released it last year in and around this time. So you can leave me a message, order, put in a request. This and the book slam, I think Indy and I may have connected through another author's platform, the Black Book Show in the UK. And he invited me to the book slam. And so that's how I got to the book slam. And that's another, those are 2 additional platforms that you can get on and display your books, talk about your books. On the Black Book Show, McConnon, he does all the prelim work first. So when you get to the show, you're just basically reading and talking about your books. And he's giving you anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to do that. On the book slam, we have about 5 to 7 because sometimes we have more authors than we do others. And sometimes we're just full. And it's another way to display. Yes, Indy's thing is he critiques, but we all critique in love. And then you get to hear other people, their take on your writing, be it poetry, whatever book you have. I have started on a book of short stories. I haven't finished them at this point in time. I finished some, but I just don't want to rush the process. Honestly, I don't.
Right.
The She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically is another anthology that I have joined. And so we're just still in the process of that coming on. I was a speaker at the summit that She Said Yes Unapologetically. She said yes to herself unapologetically. So I was a speaker there. So that was a great experience. I enjoyed it, embraced it. It was a great conference.
Wow.
Now, did I
So
answer all your questions?
It did. You got your hands in everything.
What?
You got your
Yeah,
hands in all kind of stuff.
that's why I haven't updated my website. But I will.
Shame on you.
I know
Shame
it.
on you.
I got to get
Look,
better. Got to get better. You can only do so much.
No, we all. No, we all. But
And
I
then
thoroughly
meeting you
enjoyed
has
you
been a
here.
pleasure. It has been a
Oh,
pleasure.
man.
Thank you for having me on your platform.
Oh, pleasure. And I know we'll see each other next Tuesday on the book slam. So
True. That's
look,
my
ladies
goal.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm gonna introduce to y'all one more time Miss Carolyn Coleman. She is a contributing author to the anthology that me and her are both a part of. Raising children is not easy, but it's worth it. She's also a moderator on the book slam on Clubhouse. She's also, oh man, she's a speaker, she's an author, she's a nurse, by trade and by profession. She's also a parent. So there's a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in that, man. So make sure you go check out our book on Amazon, man. It's a number one international bestseller. It is a
Yes.
bestseller on Amazon. So please do us a favor, go check this book out, find it on Amazon, and also do us another favor. And I cannot stress this enough. Reviews help us as writers
Absolutely.
and authors. They help us to be better writers, to be better authors. It also helps us to see what we can improve on come the next time we bring content to you guys. So make sure you do. Make sure you read a story or two, or read the book in its entirety. I actually advise you to. I actually suggest you read the book in its entirety and then leave
Mhm.
a review. Because even though maybe one or two of the stories may not be relatable to you, there's probably maybe one story. Maybe even though maybe all the stories are not relatable to you, but there's one story in that book that will be relatable to you, and that's something you can take and you can run with.
I agree.
Cannot stress the importance of that. But ladies and gentlemen, man, look here. Like I said before, find Miss Carolyn Coleman on at Carolyn Coleman on all of her social media platforms. That's Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and in other platforms. And check out her website. She is going to update it. and but like I said, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, man. But also, I enjoyed the build that we have. It's just talking about parenting, but also talking about our experiences as parents, but also where the disc. So I love that build. I love that build. I thoroughly enjoyed you, Miss Carolyn, and much success on all your future endeavors. And I thoroughly enjoyed you so much. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I enjoyed it. It definitely was a pleasure. I don't count it lightly when people extend an invitation for me to come out and speak to showcase my work. And I don't take it lightly at all. It is a privilege because, hey, you got the platform, but that doesn't mean you have to have me on. But I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime. You're welcome back anytime. So when that Gentry series comes to us, let me know so we can talk about that. We can talk about
Okay.
that
I
in
mean,
depth.
yeah, Gentry is basically done. I don't know if I'm going to retire her. I'm getting a lot of backlash from, no, don't retire Gentry. She's got more to teach us. So, because it's about 5 books of Gentry. Now they are definitely on my website. I am having a couple of guys have reached out to me and wanted to give their take on heartbreak and the single life. And so I have revised and
Oh,
in the process of revising a couple of the books because I was like, okay, I'll keep you protected. They were like, will you do? I will be happy to put your words in my book. I will be happy to. If you read it and you liked it and you said from a man's perspective, why not?
exactly. I love that. I love that. So I thoroughly enjoyed you on. It's a pleasure and a privilege actually. And I'm like you. I don't take it lightly when I have guests on because they can teach me. They are really glad and fortunate to have guests that can teach me something. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Miss Carolyn, you've been such a gracious guest. I appreciate you so very much. And like I said, I wish you the best of luck on your future endeavors. And
Thank you. And you
you're
as
welcome.
well.
You're welcome. And you have a great night and a great weekend and happy fourth.
Oh, yes, you too. I plan on relaxing. That's one thing I plan on doing. I plan on
Thank you.
relaxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Carolyn Coleman, man. You guys find her on our social media, on all social media platforms, and also check her out on our website, but also check her out as a contributing author on Raising Children. Was it is not easy, but it's worth it. Available right now at Amazon. A number one, this episode of the Author's Alley, right, man? Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow with Critical Conversations with my sister LHG in the building. Gonna be in the building this coming Wednesday. This coming Wednesday. July the 5th. I got another author in the building. My brother Roland, my brother RJ Davis is in the building. We're gonna talk about his new release. And there won't be an Office Alley show on this coming Friday the 7th because we're gonna be celebrating my fiance's book release and her birthday all at the same time. So we're gonna get that in.
Great.
There's a link on Facebook. If you guys are in the Atlanta area, if you guys live in the Atlanta area, man, make sure you check out that. Check it out. And if you guys want to come show some love, wish happy birthday, support, come do that. We welcome it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude this episode of the Author's Alley, man. As I always say, as I close out these shows, man. Number one, first and foremost, take care of each other. Number two, be kind to each other. And last but most definitely not least, we all know that it's a very crazy world out here right now. So the one thing I want to stress above all is just please, y'all be safe out here, man. Please be safe out here. Yeah. We love y'all with the love of God, with the love of Christ. It ain't nothing you can do about that.
Amen.
So we love y'all, and we'll see y'all again on the next one. We love you. See you.